Hey everyone, today I am sharing 5 tips on how to organize your home without spending a dime. Now, as we all know, the home organization kind of like industry has sort of taken over into this world of matching clear bins, custom labels, and everything being absolutely Pinterest perfect. And it is so fun in a lot of ways. However, there is this whole other side of it where we can create such peaceful, functional, beautiful, organized homes without spending any money at all. And that's exactly what I'm gonna share about today. Hey everyone, my name is Marianne. I live here in Canada with my husband and 2 kids, ages 6 and 7, and I make videos on simplifying life and motherhood through easy organization and decluttering. If you have been around here for a while, if you've watched any of my videos, you know that like my MO, my go-to, my main tip almost always for an organized home is owning less and decluttering. If you're looking for tips on specifically on decluttering, I have a bunch of videos on that, so go check them out. Today, I'm going to do what I can. I'm going to try and promise to not like mention decluttering and talk about owning less. However, as you all know, that is always my suggestion, and that is the easiest way to having a more organized home. But today I'm gonna kind of drill down a little bit and get a little more specific and talk more about actually organizing the items that we do decide to keep and that we do use and love. So tip number 1 is creating a designated home for everything. This tip is especially important, I find, if there are multiple people living in your home. Being able to create spaces where everybody in the whole family knows where everything lives all of the time will make life 1,000 times easier, more efficient, and way less stressful. A few different examples of this is organizing, say maybe in your kitchen. Oftentimes we'll go into kitchens and we'll see spices that are in one drawer, and then this other cupboard, and then there's a few that you forgot that you owned in the back of the top cupboard, and then there are maybe some that you keep down in the freezer. So just creating one designated home for all of your food seasonings to live will make your life, whoever does the cooking, will be easier. It will be so much easier to pass the cooking on to somebody else. A big change we did in our family a couple years ago was that I originally was doing 99% of the cooking and food prep in our house, which it got to the point that I was so overwhelmed. I'm like, Scott, my husband, I need your help. I need you to do some cooking. So now he does basically all of weekend meals. So I get a little bit of a break, and it is during me. I highly suggest it. But one thing that made that transition way easier was the kitchen was already organized. We didn't have to discuss where things were. He knew where to find this. He still asks like weird questions now and then. But for the most part, like, we have a bin or a shelf that is baking, so he knows that that's where, like, if he wants the flour, that's probably where it's gonna be. So having designated homes for everything helps not only you, but it helps the entire family just function so much better. Another example is separating and categorizing things by family member. So like I've talked about this a lot with outerwear for like hats and mitts and that sort of thing, separating that by person or having bins or baskets for each member. Let's say you have shoe baskets or shoe drawers. Sometimes people have built-ins in their mudrooms, and having a designated drawer or basket for each family member, that's a huge help. Sometimes you're gonna have categories like books or toys or crafting where you're going to have more than one home for those things, and that is okay. However, generally reducing the number of different areas, let's say crafting items, for example. Let's say you have crafting stuff, a crafting drawer in your kitchen, and you have some in the dining room, and you have some in the basement and in their bedrooms, and you have some in your bedroom. It gets a little out of hand, and it just makes it harder to manage. One of the biggest benefits having an organized home is making it easier to manage. So the more places that you have something, that just gets a little bit more complicated to manage it. So reducing the different designated homes for things will also make life a little bit easier. Another example is clothing, whether it's in a closet or in a dresser, and having designated areas for all of your different categories. So let's say we're keeping all of our dresses in one area, our t-shirts in one drawer, our pajamas in another. Not only does this make it easier getting ready in the morning, it makes it easier to do laundry, put laundry away, but it also is going to make it easier to see exactly what you own of each category. If you say, let's say all of a sudden you put your t-shirts together, wow, I now see that I have 53 t-shirts. Do I really need that many t-shirts? Is that beneficial for me? Does that make my life easier? Do I love all of these t-shirts? Do I wear all of these t-shirts? These are questions to ask yourself, and having designated homes will make your morning routines and your evening routines 1,000 times easier. Tip number 2 is to reduce flat surfaces, which sounds simple, but it's almost kind of magical. A lot of times we'll find in homes there are flat surfaces that are there that really have no purpose other than to be a miscellaneous clutter magnet. So a lot of times this will be a side table in a bedroom, a side table in a living room, a coffee table. Entryway tables are very common. Sometimes it's even a dining room table. If you don't actually sit at your dining room table to eat, it may never get cleared off. And so do we even really need that table? So if you're looking around your home and look at different pieces of furniture, I have often done this and I found, you know what, do I actually put my coffee mug on that table, or do really just the kids set down 17 things on that when they get home from school every night? So really be strategic in asking yourself, are these surfaces beneficial, helping to make our life more organized and easier and more in our home more peaceful, or are they actually doing the opposite? The bonus of this is also typically if you're getting rid of these pieces of furniture, you're clearing and having more of a clear floor space, which makes the home feel more open and usually more organized and a little bit more peaceful. Tip number 3 is using what you already own. Oh my gosh, guys, like honestly, I have purchased very few of the actual like bins and baskets of items that we have used. If I have usually almost always thrifted them. And I know I said I wasn't gonna talk about decluttering. However, when it comes to like totes or big like buckety items for like a basement or a storage room, if that's like a space you're working on, or maybe a closet where you keep things in totes, 99.9% of the time, if we're working with a client and we're doing a big spice like that, almost always by the end of it, we end up not only being able to fit everything that they do keep in the totes that they already owned, but on top of that, we have ended up with empty totes that they don't even need. When it comes to baskets and bins, same thing. Like one of the things I will say to reduce visual clutter is to keep the bins and baskets cohesive in each area. So what I'm saying is, so let's say you're working on your kitchen and you want all of the bins in the kitchen to be white or black or gray or whatever, then you can go through and steal bins that are potentially in other areas and focus on only using the white ones or the gray ones or whatever in your kitchen. So, and then maybe you're gonna be working on your playroom or your craft area and you want to use, and you know you have like a million pink and purple bins in your house. Okay, let's focus on keeping those ones for crafting so that we visually quickly know everything that's in pink and purple is probably a craft or art item. Almost always, like this basket, for example, I love the look of, it's kind of a one-off, and so I decided to use that in our linen closet, which is where it lives, and you can see I made a little tag, and this is hair and heat. I'm trying to remember. Oh, we put our clippers in here, like our hair clippers for doing the boys' hair, and our heating pads. We have a few heating pads, so I keep all of that in there, and I have no idea where they acquired this basket from. It was like, I swear I had it just like when I moved out of my dad's house sort of thing when I was probably 25. In terms of keeping things cohesive, that another thing is with hangers. Having matching hangers is so beneficial for visual clutter. It honestly makes a huge difference in a closet visually, but doesn't actually mean you need to go out and buy new ones, but by stealing and borrowing from all the different closets to make them match. When we first started organizing our home, what I ended up doing was putting all of these sturdier wooden ones into our hall closet where we kept like our heavier winter coats, and then I used like the plastic, I had white plastic ones at the time, which we ended up using in our closet in our bedroom. If all you own is like those free metal hangers that you get from the dry cleaners, that's fine as long as they're cohesive. If let's say you're dealing with just like one, you have like one big master closet and you're like, oh, Marianne, I have 3 types of hangers, I don't want to buy new ones. You don't have to. You can just separate by category. So I did a friend's closets a few months ago, and she had some beautiful hangers, but they all didn't match. So what I just tried to do is use like the black velvet ones for just for dresses, the plastic ones with say were for like blouses, and then I think she had some wooden ones that maybe we used for jeans or pants. So just keeping that by category is gonna make it so much easier. As soon as you walk in, it's less overwhelming. It's more like, oh, I know that's where all my dresses are. I know that's where all my tops are. Little tweaks like that, but that's a good tip for hangers. Jars. Oh my gosh, guys, jars, jars, and jars. So this one I actually use for our soap. So this, obviously I have not cleaned it lately. However, this would look so pretty. We have it in our cupboard because I don't have room on the counter, but this would look so pretty on the counter. I have like some like fancy kind of like homemade soaps that I love, and keeping them in the jar, and then when you open it, oh my gosh, it smells like heaven every time I open it. I love it. We also use tons of jars. This one obviously was just pasta sauce, and we use that in our pantry. And we can actually, at our bulk store, I just take the jars directly to the pantry and fill them up there, so I don't actually have to decant them when I get home. And these are just some like banana chips that I use for the kids' lunches. Another big one I have, it's a huge old pickle jar. And I use this, you can see, for our dishwasher tabs, and it works amazing. This random one, this is our, you know, same thing where if you keep your bags, I find sometimes in cardboard underneath the sink. I don't know, our sink randomly gets wet sometimes. I don't know, just like the nature of being underneath the sink. So this was like an old flower vase that I had from like an old job I think I used to have. So I really wasn't using it all that much. And so I ended up using it for all of our compost bags. So I shove all of my whole roll of compost bags when I get home. I just put them in there and just quickly grab them out. And it looks pretty, it keeps everything organized, and it has a designated home for compost bags. And in terms of the basement, when I talked about the totes and stuff, guys, don't let needing totes stop you from organizing your basement. Just because maybe when you finish, there's gonna be some things in cardboard boxes, that is fine. We'll often do like a garage or some sort of like functional space where really the client, they don't wanna spend money on totes, and I don't blame them, especially if it's for something maybe you do wanna keep, but you know that you're only gonna keep it maybe for a couple more years. Stick it in a cardboard box. Drive around behind your liquor store, behind bakeries, wherever you're gonna find cardboard boxes in your area, and just grab them, put a label on it with tape, and you're still creating that designated home. And just because it's not in a, you know, perfectly matched brand new tote, it doesn't matter, it's still organized, and I promise it will still feel satisfying and functional. Or another big one that's really simple is doing, if you want risers for your spices. So let's say you have your spices, there's all one cupboard, and you don't want to buy a new bin. Good decision, but you do want to be able to see them easily. You can buy obviously these shelf risers that go on there, but even just having, I've seen people just use 2 pieces of wood that are basically create this like little ladder effect, so that you can see all of your spices as soon as you open the cupboard. In almost every single case, there are containers, bins, baskets in your home that you probably don't need where they're currently sitting, and you could use them in the space that you are working on to organize and create more function. Tip number 4 is creating homemade labels. Everybody loves a good label. I love a good label. Who doesn't love a good label? However, you don't have to order them from Etsy. They don't have to look absolutely perfect in every area of your home. So if you're looking to do it in a super cost-effective way and not spend any money, a big one is creating little tags. So like you can see that I talked about this when this was my laundry room, and I used all tags when I did our laundry room. And these were tags I actually had because I had them from clients. But these are just from the dollar store. But you could easily, I've had people send me multiple pictures where they just cut out basically like a cereal box or an box of oatmeal, and they just cut out in the shape of a tag and then write on it. This one I just written on with Sharpie, and then use whatever string or embroidery thread or yarn that you have and hang it onto your bin or basket. Anything like that will work. You don't have to buy a label maker. You do not have to order your labels custom. Another big one we use for our, like in garage spaces, is this chalkboard tape, and I use it with it seems to really stay on like in weird temperatures. So we've done it in garages and gone back 2 years later, and it still looks great on the bin. And I just use a silver Sharpie on there so it stays on. When we first started to kind of organize our basement, like our crawl space, we had totes in there, and all I did was write like whatever Christmas on a white piece of paper that I had, and then I just taped it on with this, and I put this like clear box tape, and I actually put it over the whole pieces of paper to make it look like more like an official label, when really it was just a piece of paper that I wrote on with a marker that was probably from the kids' craft basket. Another one I wanted to show you was, this is the kids. I created these, I've shown them before. They're little like school keepsakes. So we keep like little, I ran downstairs to get it. Put like all their little report cards for each of their grades and stuff in it. but I wanted to label each of them. So these are stickers that originally technically from the dollar store, but I just had them. So I think I had them in like my old scrapbooking stuff from probably 20 years ago. And it made it look super cute and it made it look kind of custom-y, but it was just using what I have. So if you have a bunch of craft supplies or your kids maybe, even in their sticker section, that might be something you could use as well. Number 5 is to find and use things that are free. When it comes to product, I know even myself, I am frequently putting things on Facebook Marketplace for free because I just want to get rid of it, especially with something big and bulky. I will often see boxes, someone has moved and they're like, I don't want to have to like break all these boxes up to recycle them, and they want to just get rid of a big lot of boxes. If you're like in need of cardboard boxes to organize your garage or a storage area or even your kid's closet, looking for boxes for free on Marketplace. I'll often see totes that people are getting rid of. They've probably just purged or decluttered maybe their parents' house or their own house, and they're getting rid of a ton of bins or baskets. Anything like that, if you see something like that and you're like, oh, I could use that to work on my basement, or I could use that in the bedroom, grab it and try it, see if it works. It's free. What's the harm? An example is our shoe rack that we have in our garage. I have a whole video I did forever ago that's like we DIY'd it and we ended up painting it and like putting little rubber mats on it. But it is originally was just a dresser that Scott found on the side of the road. So we got the dresser for free. We took bits off of it, kind of redid it a bit, but without even redoing it, it would have been 100% functional just by taking off of the fronts of the drawers. So if you have any DIY in you, it can be hugely beneficial for stuff like that. Another thing are like free printables. So a lot of times when I'm doing a video, I will share like a free declutter challenge, or if you just search up like freebies, like a free printable for like organizing my bedroom, like that stuff will probably come up. Like anything free you can find online is huge. Watching YouTube videos like this is completely free to you, and then just looking for support and getting inspiration from those videos will be huge to help you move forward, to organize and to learn different tips and to find things that work for you and in your home. I hope those tips are helpful for you guys. If there's specific questions you have or tips that maybe you use or that you've done for free in your own home, like I love hearing about that. And if you leave that in the comments, other people read them as well, which really helps a lot with a lot of the sharing. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I am back next week with another video. Have a beautiful weekend and I will see you very soon. Bye guys.